Well, let's get back to the markets. Todd Schoenberger,
I had to.
Managing Director at Land Coal Trading, never, ever been caught in a gold lame blazer, joins us right now. How you doing, Todd?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right, Todd, what do you make of this week? It's a strange week, as Tracy and I were talking about, because the market is closed on Friday. Yet we're going to get the most important piece of data on Friday morning. Do you think the market will be nervous as we get closer to that 8:30 jobs report on Friday?
Yeah, I think so, but I think we're going to be seeing somewhat of a run-up from here on out, though, at least finishing up the quarter. I mean, keep in mind you have a lot of active fund managers out there that really need to place their bets, hopefully take advantage of the gains that we've seen in the first quarter. So don't be surprised if we see a bit of a run-up from here, but we may see a sell-off on Thursday leading into that jobs number.
Okay, Todd, we love you. Get out your crystal ball. What are you seeing for Friday?
Okay, well, I definitely don't see a 200,000 print as far as new jobs created for the month of March. A lot of speculation is out there because of the census workers that are being hired. However, you will see some job growth. I do anticipate a positive number. We haven't seen a positive number for the economy since November of last year. I do see that. However, I don't see us hitting that 200,000 print. There is some forecasters out there that are looking at an unemployment rate of 9.7%. Very well that we probably will maintain its 9.7%. However, for a job number, I'm going to tell you 100,000 will be the jobs number that we'll see on Friday.
Hey, Todd, when the market does open Monday morning, will that number that we get on Friday morning really move the market? Because we've heard anywhere from a 40,000 job loss to over 300,000 job gain. That's a huge difference. Will any number you think really shock the market into a big sell-off or a big run-up on Monday?
Well, you know what, I think if we have a jobs loss, yes, you will see a sell-off on Monday. Any type of negative number will not be very well received by traders at all, especially in light that you have so many census workers that are being hired right now. However, with that said, there will be some, I would say, absorption of any type of number that is released on Friday. We've actually seen this, especially with the recent health care bill. If you look back over just the last 6 months, you really see that Mondays tend to be an update for the markets. Actually, over the last 6 months, when the House started crafting their legislation, we actually had the markets or the Dow rise about 80% every Monday that we've going back to that time frame. So I would think that just sticking with the law of averages, unless it's going to be a dramatic negative number, we're probably going to have another update next Monday.
Todd, we're getting a lot of economic data this week, right? We got personal income and spending today. We're getting Case-Shiller home prices, consumer confidence, ADP on Wednesday. You take that with a grain of salt. But auto sales Thursday, and, of course, jobs Friday. What of all that are you really looking at this week?
Well, it's obviously, we're looking at jobs.
That's
and
it.
It's not just the economic releases. When you look at that, but you also look at some of the other things. For example, the spending number that came out today was decent. But then look at what some of these retailers are coming out with their week-over-week comparables. You know, yes, we do have the Easter holiday coming up. You will have some discretionary spending taking place. But you have some retailers out there right now that are reporting decent numbers week over week. So, and all of that has to do with people getting back to work. The jobs number is critical. It always is critical the first week of the month, and that's all I'm really concentrating on. But you will see that ADP number on Wednesday, and also jobless claims. You want to pay attention to those. Don't be surprised that jobless claims number to be somewhat, rather low actually, as far as the anticipation. I know we're looking at a 440,000 initial jobless claims. Don't be shocked if it does come in below 400,000, only because it's at the tail end of the quarter, tail end of the month. Employers are a little reluctant to start laying off during that time frame.
Todd, looking at your notes, it's interesting. We talk about how jobs really weak. Housing is terrible. You got this monstrosity of a health care bill that was just passed. We're all going to go into debt. And yet there is certain one of the segments that you really like, travel and tourism. And we saw it this morning. Priceline is up through the roof. Expedia through the roof this morning. Why is travel and tourism doing so well when so many other things are weighing heavily on the economy?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chris. And, the only logic behind it is that just because you have a slow recovery here in the United States, it doesn't mean it's elsewhere. You have countries like China and India. You have other people out there that are traveling and are taking advantage of the lower dollar, the weaker dollar, and they're traveling here to the United States. You see the S&P Travel or Dow Jones Travel and Tourism Index has actually doubled the S&P 500 this year. And then you look at some of the components in there, they're doing exceptionally well. I mean, it's not just the hotels and the airlines, but also look at Carnival Cruise Lines, for example. You see these stocks that are doing well because people are traveling, and the people that are working are taking advantage of the deals that are out there, and they're just simply they're going on a trip, which is nice if you can handle it.
Well, I mean, I think everyone's has cabin fever, right? But so what we're seeing though are budget travels. You know, we talked about this last week. You can't get a better deal than going on a cruise, right? Everything is included. You can eat for 7 days straight, all for one price. Expedia, Priceline, these are all discounted services. So we're seeing a lot of that, I guess, right? That's where the consumer is spending on the targets, on the cheaper stuff.
They are. They're spending on the cheaper stuff. But here, take a look at the Expedias out there. What they put together are package deals. So when you go to travel, you're also buying the plane ticket. You may get a rental car if you're going to do something. By doing that and by buying in a volume like that, it's cheaper for the consumer, but for everybody else that's providing those services, it's better for them anyway because now they have additional customers coming in. So Expedia takes a cut off of these packages that are being out there. And it's not just them. It's also the airlines. I mean, you could go to a Southwest Airlines and rent a car if you want, or even reserve a hotel room. And therefore, they're getting a cut out of that. That's only going to help their bottom line, and obviously it's helping their stocks.
Todd, the price of oil and gasoline will have an impact on travel this summer for sure, but it's going to have an impact on the entire global economy. Where do you see the price of oil and gas moving forward here in the next few months?
Okay, I absolutely see. Well, we're going to see gas hit $3 a gallon by Memorial Day. There's no doubt about it. And I'm projecting a $3.25 average for unleaded at the pumps start of 4th of July. Because you're going to see not just here, you have a recovery that is taking place, whether it's benign or not, there is some type of recovery here in the United States, but also globally. Keep in mind, 10% of all crude that is pumped out of the ground isn't just used for petroleum. It's also used for things like plastic, things like something like carpet. I mean, everything that's out there. So you take a country like a China that has an 8.5% GDP, or an India that's also growing rapidly. They are demanding more and more other products other than petroleum-based products. You need crude oil for that. There is no other alternative that's out there. So when you have that type of demand for oil-based products, yeah, you're only going to see those increases in demand, and also it's going to take advantage of the lack of supply. I mean, we just had the OPEC meeting last week, and they came right out and said, look, we love the price of oil right now. Well, of course they do. I mean, they're supplying 40% of all the world's oil out there, and they're taking advantage of the higher prices, but they want prices to go higher as well.
Todd, every time you're on, we talk about housing, and every single time you say it stinks. Does it still stink in your world? Because, I mean, we're not showing signs of improvement anywhere.
Yeah, you got that right, Tracy. I mean, here, I'm supposed to be in the hottest part of the country down here in South Texas, and you're expecting, all I hear is how housing is supposed to be so great here, and people still aren't buying houses here in San Antonio. And the reason why is because they can't get a loan. You have to be able to go and get a loan. The homebuyer tax credit supplied by the government is a wonderful idea. However, it does nothing for you if you cannot obtain a mortgage. And banks are not lending. I know that there is some speculation out there that, yeah, they're lending here and there, but getting a $5,000 credit card limit is nothing. You have to go out. Banks have to start loosening up those lender strings and start lending again so people can start buying. Not to mention the fact, one other part of this is the property taxes that some of these states are assessing on homeowners. They are actually being taxed out of their homes. That's a crisis that will probably continue years down the road. So if you are a would-be home buyer, you're going to take that under consideration, whether you do want to purchase a home. And because you know that you're probably going to have escalating property taxes down the road. Do you really want to be burdened with that cost?
Oh.
No question about it. No doubt about it. Todd, as always, we appreciate it, sir.
You're great, Todd. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, Todd Schoenberger.
All right, happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter to you as well. Out of San Antonio, Managing Director at Land Colt Trading. Always good to get his thoughts on everything from banking to energy. 325.